English everyday expressions. In English we need practice and practice, because practice is the breath of knowledge. Don't forget to concentrate. The first expression to learn is as expected. The phrase as expected typically implies that something has happened or turned out in a way that was anticipated or predicted. For example, I studied really hard for the exam, and I'm confident I'll get a good grade. Well, as expected, you got an A. Your hard work paid off. The next expression that often appears in everyday communication is hardly ever. Hardly ever is an expression used to describe something that occurs very rarely or almost never. It implies that the frequency or occurrence of the mentioned action or event is extremely infrequent. As an example of a conversation, are you a fan of spicy food? Hardly ever. I can't handle the heat. The expression "I'm fed up with this situation" is an expression that is often used by native speakers. You need to practice it. The phrase, "I'm fed up with this situation," expresses a feeling of extreme frustration, annoyance, or dissatisfaction with a particular circumstance or ongoing problem. As an example of a conversation from "I'm fed up with this situation," how's your new roommate? Are you getting along? I'm fed up with this situation. They never clean up after themselves, and the apartment is always a mess. You crack me up. This expression is an idiom sentence used native speakers. Do you already know what it means? The phrase, "you crack me up," is an idiomatic expression that means you find someone or something extremely funny. When you say, "you crack me up" to someone, you're letting them know that they have made you laugh or brought you joy with their humor or antics. It's a lighthearted and informal way to express amusement or laughter. As an example of the phrase "you crack me up," I found a video on the internet of a cat wearing sunglasses and dancing. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Cats can be so entertaining. They always crack me up with their unpredictable behavior. I'd love to see that video. You can make your own example sentences as practice. The next vocabulary that is always used by native speakers is "stop faffing around." You can memorize it and immediately practice it. Faffing around is a colloquial expression that means wasting time or engaging in unproductive, aimless activities. It refers to spending time on trivial or insignificant tasks instead of focusing on important or more pressing matters. It implies a sense of procrastination or not making effective use of one's time. The phrase is often used to convey frustration or to urge someone to stop wasting time and start taking action. As an example, you can practice, "Hey, have you finished that report yet?" "Not yet. I've been faffing around with other tasks. I'll get to it soon." Now it's your turn to make examples. The next expression is "let's catch up today." It has the same meaning as "let's meet today." The phrase, "let's catch up today," is an invitation or suggestion to meet or have a conversation with someone, usually with the intention of getting up to date on each other's lives or discussing specific topics. It implies a desire to reconnect or maintain a social connection with someone after a period of not seeing or talking to them. It can be used in both personal and professional contexts, and the specific meaning can vary depending on the relationship between the individuals involved. Overall, it indicates a willingness to spend time together and exchange information or experiences. An example of the conversation is as follows. "Hey, long time no see. Let's catch up today." "Sure, sounds good. What time works for you?" The next phrase is "it's freezing outside." You can write it down and memorize it, because that's the same as "it's very cold outside." It's freezing outside is a statement that means the temperature outside is extremely cold. It suggests that the weather conditions are chilly and unpleasant, often implying that the temperature is below freezing point. People typically use this phrase to describe very cold weather conditions that might require extra layers of clothing or precautions to keep warm. As an example, it's freezing outside. I can hardly feel my fingers. Winter has really set in. We should bundle up before going out. At least I've tried. You can practice it. Remember, you have to be consistent. The phrase, "at least I've tried," conveys a sense of resilience and satisfaction in having made an effort, regardless of the outcome. It suggests that even if the result may not have been successful or as desired, there is a sense of accomplishment in having given it a try. It implies a positive attitude towards attempting something and not being deterred by potential failure. Here's an example conversation using the phrase, "at least I've tried." Did you win the singing competition? No, I didn't win, but at least I've tried. The next sentence you need to know is "what's got into you." This has the same meaning as "what happened to you." The phrase, "what's got into you," is an idiomatic expression used to express surprise, confusion, or curiosity about someone's unusual or unexpected behavior. It is often used when someone is acting out of character or behaving in a way that is different from their usual self. The phrase is typically used in a rhetorical manner, not as a literal question, and implies that the person's behavior is unexpected or unusual. Here's an example of the conversation. "You've been so grumpy lately. What's got into you?" "I'm sorry. I've just been stressed with work." Couch potato. The term, couch potato, refers to a person who leads a sedentary lifestyle, spending a significant amount of time sitting or lying on a couch or recliner while engaging in activities that require minimal physical effort, such as watching television, playing video games, or browsing the internet. It is often used to describe someone who lacks motivation or discipline when it comes to physical activity and prefers to be inactive and idle instead. The term, couch potato, generally carries a negative connotation, suggesting a lack of productivity, fitness, and overall healthy habits. To better understand, here is an example of the conversation. "What did you do over the weekend?" "Oh, I was a total couch potato. I binge-watched my favorite TV series all day." The next sentence is "I've had enough." The phrase, "I've had enough," typically indicates that a person has reached a point where they can no longer tolerate or endure something. It signifies that they have reached their limit or saturation point, often due to an overwhelming or undesirable situation. It implies a strong desire to stop or avoid further involvement in whatever is causing distress, frustration, or dissatisfaction. Essentially, it expresses a feeling of being fed up, exhausted, or unwilling to continue with a particular experience or circumstance. Hear the example of conversation where someone might say, "I've had enough. I can't believe how much work they keep piling on me. It's never ending. I understand. It sounds really overwhelming. Yeah, I've had enough. I need to talk to my boss about this workload." And that wraps up today's video. I hope you found it helpful or entertaining. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. See you in the next video.